Good morning, everybody. Well, hold on just a second here. I'm going to make sure I have my water, things of that sort to get ready. Okay, now that we're ready to go, good morning, everybody. It is week 7. Actually, it is Monday morning, 7 o'clock. Because if it's 7 o'clock in the a.m., then you're here with me talking about what went down on Sunday. If it's Wednesday, it's going to be Wellness Wednesdays. And if it's Friday, it's the NFL preview for what's going to happen Saturday. But since today is Monday, Miracle Monday, we're going to talk about what happened in the NFL yesterday, Sunday, and Sunday night. We already talked about what happened Thursday, so we won't go there. The Cardinals won, and that's that. But let's go on. Sunday. Well, let's start off with the game of the day. Or the game of the day. I should say the game of the week, but actually, no, it's not the game of the week. It's the game of the day. And I say that facetiously. And it involved the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Carolina Panthers. Yes, the Carolina Panthers. Now, let me set the scenario for you. I have to set this up for you. Now, the Carolina Panthers, 2 weeks ago, 14 days ago, fired their head coach, Matt Rule. Then, about 5 days after that, they traded away their best receiver, Anderson. Let me see, what's his name? Well, they traded away their best receiver. Well, anyway, they traded him away. And then, a couple of days after that, they traded away their best running back or best tailback, Christian McCaffrey. Well, actually, they just did that Friday. So here's a team that's trying to lose. They want to lose so bad that when they fired their head coach, Matt Rule, he still had 4 years left on his contract. Meaning they still have to pay him for 4 years. But they didn't care. They were willing to eat that 4 years to start losing and start losing big. So after getting rid of him, and then Robbie Anderson, that's the receiver's name, and then Christian McCaffrey, they met the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yes, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady and the new head coach, Todd Bowles. Now, if ever a team needed a bounce back game, it was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They had just lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers, like 14-10 or 12, or some really relatively low scoring game in which they didn't score a touchdown. Actually, they did at the end, and then they couldn't convert the 2-point play, something to that extent. So they lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are dismal this year, and we're going to get to them because they won on Sunday night. They lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So now they're playing the Carolina Panthers, who are trying to lose. And what happened? They lost. Oh, not the Carolina Panthers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers lost to the Carolina Panthers, a team that's trying to lose. And not only did they lose, they lost 21-3. 21-3. That's right. Tampa Bay lost to a team that's trying this darndest to lose. They lost to them 21-3. All I can say to you Tampa Bay fans is welcome to the Todd Bowles era. Yes, Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles was last the head coach of the New York Jets. And each year consecutively, he got worse. He inherited a fairly good team. And from there, it just went downhill. But not only did it go downhill, it kept going downhill and downhill and downhill. And it looks like that is about what's going to that is about what is going to happen to Tampa Bay. Well, looking at it this way, they're in such a bad division, they're still tied for first place at 3-4. So that's good news for you Tampa Bay fans. And it's even good news for you Panther fans. Well, I don't know, because your team was trying to lose. They have to work hard because they were tied with the Texans. That's right. The Texans already declared. Anyway, we'll move on from there. Let's go on to the Dallas Cowboys game. Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys went against the Detroit Lions. Now, Dallas lost last week to Philadelphia. And, there's a lot of controversy about, the quarterback, Cooper Rush. He had run all those games for Dallas in miraculous fashion and led them in whatever the case may be. They looked like a pretty good team. Then they let this kid start against Philadelphia. And Philadelphia is loaded for bear this year, and he lost. And that gave them the excuse to yank him out the lineup and put in Dak Prescott. Yes, they didn't put in Dak Prescott against Philadelphia. They left Cooper Rush in there. But against the Detroit Lions, Dak Prescott's the starting quarterback. Coincidence? I think not. And this is the reason why Dallas can never get over the hump. They're more concerned about satisfying players' egos than they are about actually winning. Winning is the most important thing. Well, I'm not going to go around, belaboring the point. But Dak Prescott was in there against Detroit, and of course, they beat Detroit. But then again, who doesn't? Each week, I watch Detroit fumble the ball on the 1 yard line just as they're about to score. It must have happened about 8 times already this year. You're not going to win like that. And of course, they didn't win. So it goes. Dallas won that game 24-6. And no, it wasn't even that close. We move on to the New York Football Giants. The New York Football Giants continue the winning ways, and their quarterback, Daniel Jones, is beginning to look like the real thing. Danny Jones can throw. Danny Jones can throw on the run. And as of yesterday, what I just found out is that Daniel Jones can run the ball. So between throwing the ball, throwing on the run, and running the ball, he gets the job done. He's no Lamar Jackson, but he gets the job done. Now, they were playing the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Jacksonville actually was ahead going into the fourth quarter. But Jones pulled it out. He's showing a lot of maturity. He's getting a lot of things done. And in the fourth quarter, when the Jags were ahead, they went for it on the 4th and 1. And if they had made that 4th and 1 and put some points on the board, they would have put the game out of reach. But they didn't. And when they didn't, the Giants took over the ball, went down the field, scored a touchdown, went into the lead, and won the game. That being said, at the end, they were trying to get into Giants took the lead. But there was an addendum to that. The Jags actually got the ball back, drove the ball all the way down to the 2-yard line, and ran out of time. That's what happens to a team that's destined to lose. The Baltimore Ravens, they played the Cleveland Browns, and they had their way with Cleveland. Now, Cleveland always seems to do just enough to make the game close, except for that game with New England where they got completely frisbeed and just tossed around. But other than that, they're in the game to the end. Now, this is funny because they always have these chances to win, and they never do. They throw an interception there, they fumble there, another interception, they fumble, they run out of time. And as always, at the end of the game, they're there to kick a field goal to tie the game. And what happens? They miss the field goal. And that's what happened again for the second week in a row as the Cleveland Browns played the Baltimore Ravens. Now, Lamar Jackson, he was subpar throwing the ball, but he was pretty good at running it. But really, the Ravens looked like they really didn't want to play that much. They just looked like they wanted to get out of town. I mean, actually, they were playing in Baltimore, but they looked like they just wanted to get out the game and just call it a day. And they meant to do that. So Jackson was 9 for 16, 120 yards. The Ravens gave the Browns every opportunity they could to win the game, but the Browns, as much as the Ravens didn't want it, the Browns wanted it less. So that was the game. All right. And we're going to move on to the Tennessee Titans. Oh, my God, the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans, they had a chance to, they've had chances to do a couple of things. And they looked terrible the whole time. Tennessee, if it hasn't been for Derrick Henry, I don't know where the Tennessee Titans would be. They played Indianapolis yesterday, and they beat them 19-10. Now, we're talking about Indianapolis. Indianapolis, who's looked pretty dismal. The Titans has barely managed to beat them. Now, they might have not had beaten Indianapolis, but Matt Ryan threw for 3 interceptions. He leads the league with 9 interceptions now. So one of the interceptions was a pick 6. So they got 1 touchdown. Then they got another touchdown from a pick 6, and I think the rest were field goals. Matt Ryan tries to give them the game, and they barely took it. Really? Well, I had to report that, there was a game. So, no, Tennessee didn't look overpowering. They didn't look smooth. They didn't look efficient, but Indianapolis looked worse. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals. The Cincinnati Bengals upset my upset. Well, they foiled my upset prediction. I picked the Atlanta Falcons to upset Indianapolis. Cincinnati in Cincinnati. In Cincinnati, that ain't gonna happen. Cincinnati beat the crap out of the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, they made chicken sandwich out of them and chicken nuggets and chicken fricassee, whatever you want to call it. They did that to the Falcons. The game was out of hand by the first quarter. I think it was 28-10, something to that extent. After the first half, 28-10, I believe it was. And then it was never really close. Cincinnati jumped on them early. Jamar Chase had a monster game. Joe Burrows had a monster game. It was 28-14 at halftime, and at the end, it was 35-17 Bengals. So, wrong again. I'm wrong again on that one. Let's move on to the second big upset of the day. And that involved Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. Now, the Green Bay Packers had lost to the New York Jets. Then they lost to the New York Giants. And they were looking to bounce back somewhat. I mean, the Packers are fresh off paying Aaron Rodgers a mint load of money, whatever he wanted in the offseason, because he wasn't in the top 4 highest paid quarterbacks. And of course, that made him pretty sour. So he made Green Bay renegotiate his contract so that he's in the top 4 once again. So fresh off losing 2 in a row, looking to bounce back, surely the Pack would find a way into the winning column against the Washington Commanders and their backup quarterback, Taylor Heineke. Right? Right, everybody? Wrong. No, they did not find their way into the winning column. They lost. Washington beat Green Bay 23-21. Rodgers got his money, and he isn't worried. But Green Bay fans, you should be worried because the Pack doesn't have anyone other than Aaron Rodgers now. Devontae Adams is in Viva Las Vegas. Randall Cobb is old. The offensive line is patchwork, and the defensive line is piecemeal. Now, the Pack is 3-4, and it ain't going to get much better because next week, Green Bay, the Packers travel to Buffalo to play the Buffalo Bills. Good luck with that. Speaking of the Las Vegas Raiders, Viva Las Vegas, they trounced Houston 38-20. But then again, who doesn't? Now, the Texans, they threw down the gauntlet early in the season as the team to beat for the worst record in the league. The Texans ain't playing for nothing, and they ain't paying nobody to play for them. So they got a quarterback named Davis Mills. Yeah, I know. And that's about it. That's the top name right there, Davis Mills. They went cheap, and they stayed cheap. Unlike the Lions, who actually tried, they went out and got Jeff Goff. So they got a big name quarterback, and I think they're paying they have a pretty decent tight end, and they try to get some running backs, and they pay them, but not the Texans. Well, the Texans, no way, Jose, and it shows. As for the Raiders, Josh Jacobs rushed for 143 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Las Vegas put the boots to the Houston Texans like they should have. And that was that. So we have a breaking alert here, a breaking alert. Ladies and gentlemen, sports fans everywhere, the New York Jets have won again. That's right. They won again. The Jets are now 5-2. 5-2. Can anyone out there, if you can, I want you to leave it in the comment section. Can anybody else out there remember when the Jets were last 5-2? I can't. And I'm usually pretty good at this. And since I couldn't remember, I Googled it. And guess what? Google does not remember the last time the Jets were 5-2. 5 in the win column and with only 2 losses. Google can't remember. So Google can't remember. I don't feel that bad. But if any of you can remember, please leave it in the comment section. Now, the Jets took on Denver, and they beat Denver. But then again, who doesn't? Now, Denver didn't have their $1 million baby, bonus baby, Russell Wilson out there, so they really can't blame him. But it didn't really matter because they were playing with oh, wait a minute, what is this guy's name? Uh, Rest assured, he's got to be a headliner, right? I mean, the guy's got to be somebody that we know. Who? Who is he? Oh, yeah. The guy's name is Mark Ripien. He's the nephew of the Super Bowl 26 quarterback. Oh, no. His name is Brett Ripien. He's the nephew of Super Bowl 26 quarterback Mark Ripien, who was the MVP. He was with the Washington Redskins at the time. Mark Ripien's nephew is Brett Ripien, who is now the starting quarterback of the Denver Broncos. After their $1 million baby, Russ Wilson came up injured with a torn hamstring. Now, a torn hamstring generally takes a period of time to come back from, but not for Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson says he has Wolverine blood. Wolverine blood. But I haven't seen any of that in these first 6 games. He doesn't look very much like a Wolverine out there. But I digress. Let's just stay with Brett Ripien. Brett Ripien actually had a pretty good game. And he played just as well as as Russell Wilson. I think for about freaking, Jesus, I can't even calculate. I doubt the kid makes $1 million. The kid doesn't even make $1 million. And I'm sure Russell makes $40 million a year, somewhere thereabouts. Do the math, Broncos. Anyway, we'll let that go. But anyway, Brett Ripien didn't play bad. He threw for 225 yards, but he came up short. Now, the real game of the day, really, truly, all joking aside, it wasn't Tampa Bay versus the Carolina. It wasn't Green Bay versus, well, it wasn't Green Bay. The real game of the day actually involved the Kansas City Chiefs traveling to San Francisco to play the 49ers. Now, the 49ers had just traded for Christian McCaffrey, looking for a little boost, a little spring, a little something to spike up their season, to give them a run at the playoffs. I mean, they've been mediocre most of the year. And so they were looking for that spring that they could, a little something. Christian McCaffrey, the all-star tailback. They got him from the Panthers, who were just wholesaling off their plays, looking to lose, as I mentioned in the opening monologue. But they're going to have to keep looking because Pat Mahomes went crazy on them. Pat Mahomes threw for 3 touchdowns and something like 400 yards. Kansas City was coming off a loss to the Buffalo Bills, so they were looking to get back in the win column. San Francisco had lost to Atlanta Falcons, and that prompted the trade for Christian McCaffrey. But it didn't help them too much. KC won that game 44-23. Pat Mahomes, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. He looked unstoppable. Jimmy Garoppolo looked serviceable, but that ain't going to get her done. And in the last game, actually, there's another game. Seattle. Oh, gee whiz. No, let me. Should I look this up? No, we're not. But Seattle won. Geno Smith looks fantastic. I'm gonna remember the team that he was playing against. Oh, they were playing the Chargers. Now, Seattle Seahawks with Pete DePuto Carroll, who's always optimistic. Nobody gave him a chance this season. Is actually in the running now because they're winning. They're winning. And they're winning with Geno Smith. Geno Smith had a monster game. They took it to him. There wasn't anything that Seattle couldn't do. They ran the ball. They passed the ball. They played defense. And I think Seattle's going to be in contention at the end. Now, in the last game of the night, actually it was last game of the day, but it happened at night, Miami Dolphins. Yes, Miami Dolphins, who are on the 3-game losing streak. They got Tua Tags back. Now, I remember early in the season, I didn't think Tua Tags was going to last that long. He was kind of frail. And I thought he had one of the weakest arms in the NFL. But Tua Tags has proved me wrong. I mean, I don't know how long he'll last in the NFL. He's still frail. But with that weak arm, he's very accurate. And he's the guy who's getting the Miami offense in gear and running. Now, they only won the game 16-10 against the Steelers. I know they beat the Steelers. Who doesn't, right? But Tampa Bay didn't. They didn't beat the Steelers. So, that being said, look at those reflexes. That being said, Miami is back on track. Tua Tags is a good quarterback. And that being said, it's one other thing I want to talk about. The Steelers, Kenny Pickett went out. They started Kenny Pickett, that rookie again, instead of Mr. Trubisky. Now, Pickett was knocked out 2 games ago, and Trubisky came in and won the game. But the Pittsburgh fans have been clamoring for Kenny Pickett to be put back in. Now, all of us who have watched the NFL for more than 15, 20, 25 years know they're putting in the rookie is basically throwing in the towel for the season. But we can't seem to, those of us who actually watch the game and study it, realize that. But for the majority of fans, when something's going wrong, the first thing they say is put in the rookie quarterback. Well, the rookie quarterback got put back in. And Kenny Pickett did throw for one touchdown. But he threw for 3 interceptions, which is par for the course for a rookie. So what are you going to roast him now? He's a rookie. He shouldn't be in there in his first year, not until after the 8th game. If things are going that bad, 9th game and the season's already done, and you know you're not going anywhere, and he has studied the game long enough, then you put a rookie in the game, a rookie quarterback, because it just moves so fast. You want to give him a chance to be a winner. And it doesn't matter what these so-called fans say. They're not in his position. They don't have to get hit by 220, 250, 300-pound linemen. Get their brain scrambled like he did 2 weeks ago. They don't have to throw these interceptions. So if you're a coach, if you're a real coach, and you don't put your quarterback, your rookie quarterback in there unless you have to, it's not fair to him. It doesn't matter what these so-called fans say, because they're not looking out in the best interest of the team or that quarterback. And with that being said, that's my lecture for today. Listen, it's been a magical Monday. And I'm glad you stayed with me because I made so many mistakes. I mean, what was I thinking of? Tampa Bay and the Steelers and how many mistakes did I make? I mean, listen, this is a live show, so mistakes do happen. It goes to show you that nobody's perfect. And even if you have lights, camera, and action, you're going to make mistakes in life. So, everybody, enjoy your Monday. It's a miracle Monday. The miracle is you're here. And it doesn't matter what your team did. You are responsible for bringing happiness into your life, not your team. So let's get it out there. Let's get out there and get going. Get this thing rolling. Get this thing started. Let's get ready to rumble, however you want to do it. Grab your coffee, everybody. Get out there, say hi to somebody. If you see some trash on the sidewalk, pick it up, throw it into the trash can. Spread some love and happiness in the world. And with that, I say peace out and have a good time. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. Like, subscribe, leave some comments. Let's make this thing fun. It's your forum as well as my forum. Have a good day.